fragrant friends, it's Jay. I'm back with some more samples. Today we're going to focus on a house called Masque Milano. I tried a fragrance a long time ago called Tango. I love the bottles, and so I wanted something from this house. That fragrance was actually a little bit, it's an amber fragrance, but I felt like it was a little too masculine, and so I haven't tried anything from them since. But I got 5 samples today from them, again from Lucky Scent, and I just wanted to share my thoughts. So I did some first impressions, and I also, after I got my first impressions, I looked at the notes and kind of wrote some more things down. So I'm just going to go through my thoughts with you guys. The first fragrance that I have is called Kintsugi, the first fragrance that I'm going to talk about. It is based on the Japanese art of with the same name. It's Kintsugi. So what happens is there's a ceramic piece broken, whether it's a bowl or a pot or whatever, but when they put it back together, the seams are decorated and highlighted with gold or silver or platinum, and it's really beautiful. The philosophy behind it is supposed to represent the fact that there's beauty in the broken. And so, you know, some pieces are broken a lot, that's what I'm getting to, but some pieces are broken a little bit, and that represents people as well, right? Everyone is a little bit broken. Some people have more trauma than others, but that is supposed to be in this philosophy a part of your history and not something to be hidden. And I think it's really a testimony, you know, that you speak about your experiences. That way you can help somebody else who might be going through something similar. So I think that's really beautiful. When I first smelled this fragrance, I thought I smelled white florals. I thought I smelled woods, and I liked it. I felt like it was kind of like a spa-y meditative fragrance. But it's funny because when I looked at the notes, and as it started to develop more on my skin, the notes were not quite the same, actually very different. It's magnolia. I think that's the only thing I got right because that's a white floral. Bergamot, amber, suede rose, violet leaf, raspberry leaf, patchouli, benzoin, and vanilla. And so right away, once I, saw the notes, the rose and the suede are the most prominent things in this fragrance. It's definitely a fragrance I feel like it would be worn at least when you're dressed casually, dress casual, dressed up a little bit. And I feel like you could wear this in a maybe a formal occasion as well. It is a dry fragrance. The rose and the suede just mix really beautifully. So this actually is not my typical fragrance, but because of the way the rose and the suede mix, I would definitely consider having this fragrance in my collection. It's something, again, that I don't have, and it's not something that I would naturally be drawn to, but having smelled it and the development of it, I think it's something I would consider. So that is Kintsugi. The next one I have is Petra. Now, when I first smelled this fragrance, I thought that there was some florals, some resins, a little bit of sweetness. And I still feel that way as it developed. It was more resiny and soft. The notes in this fragrance are mandarin orange, LME, geranium, lily of the valley, black pepper, lotus, and Tunisian orange blossom. And when I looked up the notes, I also saw that it was compared to Coco Mademoiselle, and I kind of get that comparison. Not a dupe or not anything that is supposed to be exact, but the feel is similar because of the mandarin orange and the resins. Coco Mademoiselle is a little more potent than this fragrance. This is more smooth, this is softer, and I don't think it projects as much as Coco Mademoiselle, but they do give the same vibe. I wouldn't look for a full bottle of this at this point because I do have the Coco Mademoiselle, but if I ever ran out, I would definitely consider this. So this is also one to try. It's really pretty. The next one that I have is, let's see, Love Kills. This one, when I opened it, it's strong. I could smell it right when I opened it, and as I was applying it to skin, it was kind of wafting up. So this is a rose fragrance. There's nothing else. Maybe some citrus. As it was developing and as I was smelling it close to skin, I got some citrus from this fragrance. But outside of that, there's really nothing else that I smelled. So rose fragrances that are just pure rose, I don't gravitate toward, but it's still a beautiful fragrance. The notes in this fragrance are Turkish rose, geranium, and ambrette in the beginning, in the opening. Then in the mid, there's Turkish rose and patchouli. At the base, there's something called amber rome, which sounds like it could be amber molecule or maybe something resinous or woody. Then there's cedar and there's musk. But this is pretty much just a bunch of fragrant red roses that are very fresh. And that's what I get from this one. The next one really made an impression on me. It's called Madeline. I thought that by the name, because I know that Madeline cookies have citrus, have some, you know, soft spices, maybe cinnamon and vanilla. But this fragrance, when I put it on, I got a really rich vanillic nuttiness with just a hint of spice. And it reminded me of a wedding cookie, because there's a little bit of powderiness in this fragrance too. And so, you know, those wedding cookies are, I don't know, some people make them different, but I've had them in a round shape. It's like a shortbread cookie that has nuts in it that's coated in powdered sugar. This was spot on to me. When I looked up the notes, there is whipped cream, chestnut, cumin, tuberose, cypress, geranium, milk, vanilla, tonka, and musk. A lot of those notes I'm not picking up. Like I said, I get the nuttiness, I get the richness, the vanilla, and the slight powderiness of this fragrance. And as I smelled it, when I saw that there was chestnut, there was a connection in my brain to the smell that is in the beginning of tuberose castane, that chestnut that's in there. I feel like this fragrance hits that on the mark. So if you've ever smelled that beginning note, how you get that richness, that butteriness in the beginning, that is what this smells like without any florals. I think the powderiness of this fragrance saves it for me and actually makes me interested in trying it more. I would consider getting a full bottle because it's very rich, but I feel like the airiness of it also keeps it from being too heavy. And without being mixed with something else like a floral or a fruit, those types of fragrances begin to be a little bit too much for me. So this one is definitely caught my interest and I'm going to explore it more. So that's Madeline. The last one is special as well. It's called Mandala or Mandala. I'm not quite sure. But when I first put this fragrance on, it's heavily spiced, but not in the way that the spices are harsh or even very, how can I say? So I thought that this fragrance was spicy, but also tea-like. So tea to me, black tea, not green tea, is smooth. Black tea has a very smooth feel to it. And if you're thinking about a cup of black tea, maybe a chai, it's not harsh and sweetened. I would sweeten my tea with honey. And in this fragrance, it is sweet. And I feel like the honey that would sweeten it would be not an animalic honey, but a honey that is very floral. And so all in all, when I smell this fragrance from the beginning, I feel like it's spiced, but floral, smooth, black tea, and sweet with like a transparency, like honey, okay? So when I looked up the notes, they are not what I smell, but it's so funny. The notes in this fragrance are olibanum, angelica, nutmeg, incense, cardamom, labdanum, cedar, cinnamon, cloves. There's cloves in here. They don't stand out though. There's myrrh, ambergris, sandalwood, and oak moss. And so all of those things come together, remind me of what I just described. A floral, smooth black tea with spices sweetened with honey, a floral honey. This fragrance, as it develops, that spiciness dies down and it actually becomes more green. So they're green spices, like a smooth, spicy green. And I feel like spicy might be misleading because it's just, it's soft. It's a soft, spicy green, which is better. And it's still sweet. The sweetness starts to die down actually with this fragrance, and what I'm left with is almost a soapiness. It becomes clean. So I love the development of this fragrance, and I almost at one point was thinking that I would love my home to smell like this. I don't feel like this is synthetic. It's not something that smells like an air freshener, so don't misunderstand me when I'm describing that. It's just a very calming, just a very smooth, a very inviting, slightly spiced fragrance. I feel like this could be a signature actually, and I'm very interested in exploring this fragrance more. So this is Mandala or Mandala. These 5 fragrances have made me want to explore this house a little bit more. There are plenty of fragrances that they have, but I do think the quality is good. And out of these, I would definitely want to try, like I said, Mandala, Madeline, and Kintsugi. And yeah, and definitely get some more from the house. So you guys, if you haven't tried out Masque Milano, definitely try them out. Definitely worth it. I would say they are interesting and special. So that's all I have to say today about this house. So that's it. I guess I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye. Love, Jay.